Welcome to Time for 13 in 13. We're here tonight to talk about episode 9, It Takes You Away. Joining me, which is way more exciting than the episode. That was a good line reading. With me as always is Rob.
That's really good. Excellent job.
Wasn't it?
That was good.
So we're getting down to it. This is episode 9 of 10. So the penultimate episode.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you think this would be the part where things are starting to peak, but not so much.
I don't know. I guess I'm not sure. Oh no, you're right.
All right, well let's get into it then. You want to let's start with the alternate title. So It Takes You Away, aka.
So I started with Shrieking Shack: Generations.
Oh, which
Obviously we'll explain.
Yeah.
And then I thought about Silence of the Moths.
Okay.
But I ended up with, and you'll forgive me, Love and Frogs.
Oh. Love and Frogs.
All apologies to Love and Monsters. That's where I'm at with this episode.
Yeah. So before we really get into this, then I really want to hear your synopsis because, I'm curious to see how you made sense of this.
Well, here it is. The doctor and friends stumble into Norway, where a blind girl's father has abandoned her for her dead mom, who turns out to be a sentient parallel universe connected to ours by a nightmare land of the lost crevice filled with a spiral-cut Sleestack and flesh-eating Cenobites. Excuse me, moths. Sorry.
A spiral cut Sleestack.
I mean,
wow.
Wait,
that
okay.
was good.
So I think we're on the same page with this.
Yeah. We have finally reached the nadir, the worst episode of the season because, boy, they really shot for the moon.
No. Okay, let's put it out there. I'm not going to take away from the outstanding performance by that girl.
Yes, and actually, her father was. I mean, yeah, I agree. Like, actually, and kudos to them to actually casting a blind girl as a blind girl. That was a great stroke of casting.
Absolutely,
and she was terrific.
But
yeah,
you know how we talked about these episodes, like that second to last episode is like the one where one of the characters has got to disappear.
Yeah.
Well, you know what had to disappear in this episode? The production budget.
Like, we have a house and a hallway,
and a hallway that literally looked like somebody took a bunch of boxes, covered them in gray sheets, and then like had on strings like little fluffy moths, and hey, run down this hallway. And what happened?
It was sort of like they had this big thing about you need the light, and we got to get the light, and you have to bargain for light, you get the light, and it comes out. And my wife goes, "Is that just a balloon?"
I mean, well, and okay, and this is where I'm going to just so let's just characters.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. I'm going to say this right now. Grace has been a more compelling companion than Yaz in this entire series, and she died in the first episode.
Yeah, the specter of Grace really is hanging over them.
What in the world? But she's been a better companion. Because she's been in more episodes and done more things than Yaz has. I don't get it. And
I don't know. They tried so many things. I guess I feel like maybe they need to slow down a little bit, because it's like they tried to put with the you have the we thought this was going to be another Silence of the Library or Blink, where they were going to introduce some really freaky, scary thing. My daughter was just watching the preview, was freaked out about this episode. Like, what is this going to be? Do I need to cover my eyes? Can I handle this? And it's sort of oh yeah, you can totally handle this, unless you're scared of ribbons.
Yeah, exactly.
Who really scared of that? So you have too many big concepts in one. You have let's see, I'm looking at all the terminology. So not only ribbons, just as the weird guy, but you have the anti-zone, you have end space, you have the solitract. That's just it's a universe that it wants to be, and it's outside, and there's a thing between the two, and there's people that it made from your what?
And here's the deal: it's the Nexus.
Yeah,
it's the Nexus from Star Trek Generations. When they came out the other side of that cabin, I expected Kirk to be making eggs, and I was like, "What is going on?"
And there's George Clooney from Solaris, which is the exact same concept.
Exactly, right. I mean, what is happening?
Yeah, by the time they got to like, then Gray shows up, and I'm like, all right, then Gray shows up, sure.
And I mean, like, and everybody says, and I'm going to tell you this: if you read any of the comments, like, people were like, of course, everyone flips out at the frog, and I would make the case the frog is the least surprising thing in this episode.
Yes, by the time you get the frog, you're like, sure,
of course it's a frog. Of course. And Morgan, my daughter, almost fell out of her chair laughing when the frog lifted its hand to like force push her. Yes.
Oh yeah, and launch her out of it.
I mean, I was literally like, what?
Yeah, like I was not on the same page as the doctor through this whole thing, where she was like, "I made a friend." It's like,
oh, well, and how weird. Like, okay, like we'll get into the weird stuff. Like, okay, so there is some funny things, like the Woolly Rebellion, the whole opening.
Yes. Here's one of the rules that Doctor Who should follow, and this is for drama in general. But don't throw away a joke that's more interesting than the episode you're about to show.
Yes, I want to see the Woolly Rebellion.
I want to see a Woolly Rebellion episode. That is way more interesting to me than End Space and the Solid Tract and a telepathic frog.
Absolutely. Like, okay, and then we, the, like, weird stuff we've gotten thrown out there. She's had 7 grannies, which I thought was funny. But but then we have this weirdness where, okay, she is the bluffer of bluffers. Like, she basically threatens Ribbons, I'm going to cut you. Like, I'm going to kill you right here. And of course she's not, because she doesn't got anything to kill him with. Right. And then later on, she's like seducing the woman who's embodying the universe. She's like, she was like flirting with her almost like, hey, you can let these people go. I'm a way better find than you're going to have with any of these people. Like what is, what's happening?
It's like, are they dating now? Like, what?
No, and I guess this is where, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode, but this is where one thing hit me. Chip, this is where I think I hit my police procedural overload.
Okay.
In the show. And one of the things that I've complained about before, and I'm going to complain about it again. He's so set in that investigative procedural box, no pun intended. He doesn't know what to do with the TARDIS set at all. He does not know how to use it in his storytelling. Because once again, no TARDIS interior.
Right.
And you're killing me with that.
Just
you're killing me with that.
Sitting there on the thing. So even in looking at the trivia of this, there was something else. There was even something else this episode that was cut. They actually had another monster. There's a production photo, like a behind the scenes photo of Paul Sturgis, who's played a bunch of different monsters, with the rest of the cast as this giant, like, cloak monster with like this smooth head and like long fingers and stuff too. There was another monster in this thing. Like, what the hell did that script look like? Where they were just like, nope, throw another one in. Like,
oh my god, are you
like,
serious?
Maybe there needs to be a limit of 3 things of whoa, big concepts that you put in an episode.
Well, no, and then I think the irony of all this is like, okay, like, I mean, this would sum up the episode to me is, here's Ryan, which at the beginning they're all looking at him like, dude, you're an a-hole, when he suggests, oh yeah, her dad's gone, maybe he just said, screw this, I'm over. He was right.
He was right. No, they gave him so much crap, and he nailed it. Like,
he was completely right. Like,
that guy was gonna totally like abandon his daughter.
The only thing that, obviously, if I had a positive is, I mean, I still look at, even though we've gotten this whole last third of the season really gloomy, really cold,
dark, and literally dark,
but
like even just in terms of lighting, dark, like hard to see. Dark.
Right. I still really, I do like her as the Doctor.
Oh, I do too. Yeah,
and Graham and Ryan, we get the
Graham and his
granddad
sandwich that was so good.
Oh my god, that's awesome. I mean, look at like that part's good, although it gets ruined in the next episode. Spoilers, but you know what I mean. Like, it's great. But yeah, this just was a miss for me completely.
Yeah,
like I don't like, when I was looking at phrases of the episode, and I had obviously the 193 years, there's a total renegotiation of the sheep-human relationship. And then, of course, the greatest pun of ever, utter bloodbath. And if you notice, she really delivers the T, because you can't just let that go, utter bloodbath, right?
Yeah.
Bloodbath. I did think, like, we know if we were vampires, right? Like, that was funny. Oh, and then okay, here's where like, hey, I don't think we've made this scary enough. Let's do this. You ask the clever questions. I bet your brain tastes so delicious.
Mm.
Ew.
Yeah, ribbons. Yeah, what a weirdo that guy was. Yeah, this is actually at some point we had to hit the low point of the season, and we hit it.
This was it. This is it, everybody.
They went to Norway and stumbled quite.
And once again,
severely.
great performance. Great
performance. Yeah, like the actors really like they still were consistently great. They were still themselves. So it was them in this situation, but just like it was not good. So yeah, I say I like the show, but like I don't know where we put in the ratings, like between 1 to 5. Like obviously it's not going to be a 4.
Well, I had a 2.
Definitely a 3.
I had a 2.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah.
All right. So wow, we've never had to do this before, ladies and gentlemen, but we put it at a 2, which is of course. Yeah, I'd like to delete this one.
Oh wow, that's now I feel a little guilty, but
I know, right?
Maybe I'll just go through the mirror in my bedroom and go somewhere else.
Yeah, I guess if he hadn't had a daughter and he just lost his wife, then he could have gone over there and he'd have been fine, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so we all endured this together. So thank you for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
Things are going to to look up from here.
Oh, yes, of course.
We get to the final episode of the season next time.
Yes.
So thank you all for listening. Thank you, Rob.
Welcome.
And we will see you next time.